Welcome back. It is crunch time at the Vintage Championships. I'm Randy Buehler. I'm here with Chris Bakula. We're watching round 8. Both of these players are 6-1, hoping that a win in this round will get them through to the top 8. All they'll need is a draw in the next one. Joel Lim on the left of your screen is playing a fish deck. Merfolk, 24 creatures, 3 null rods, just trying to, wasteland, strip mine, hoping to beat down with fish. Greg Kraigher on the right, he's got the shops. Mishra's Workshop, powers out powerful artifacts, Phyrexian Metaphor, Phyrexian Revoker, Steel Hellkite, Slash Panther, Lodestone Golem.
Powerful vintage artifacts like Slash Panther.
I did just say that, didn't I? That didn't quite come out the right way, but... All right, so 2 Moxen and a Port. 2 Moxen is actually gonna hurt when Joel Lim plays the card that I'm pretty sure we saw in his hand. I think he's sitting on null rods.
He's sitting on multiple null rods now.
But Port taps the island on upkeep and shuts down the turn 2 play. That's a pretty good Rashad board.
I saw Greg's hand clearly has a workshop in it.
He played Port over Workshop.
I'm trying to figure out what he didn't. Trying to figure out what the rest of his hand is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he had a powerful 4 or 5 drop to power out, but the Port looks good here. Like, Merfolk doesn't play a lot of Moxes or Acceleration.
No.
All right, here's Wasteland out of the Merfolk deck. Joel plays that. I don't know if it sounds like he's not going to use it. He could waste the Port, doesn't want to, wants to see.
No, because he wants to cast Null Rod next turn.
Yes, he does. All right, there is definitely a Workshop in Greg's hand.
And then go after a Workshop, so I think he doesn't care about Port because he's Null Rodding.
Mishra's Factory got drawn. He's porting main phase to tap the Wasteland.
That is a strange play.
Why would he do that?
Maybe he's trying to waste the Wasteland?
He's hoping that Wasteland's going to be pointed at Port in response? He's hoping to get Joel... Yeah, he's hoping to get Joel to use the Wasteland.
Right,
if he has his own Wasteland, he can then play the Waste and waste it.
Right.
I'll buy that. But yeah, Joel isn't going to fall for that, so he uses the Port. Now comes Mishra's Factory. So he's got the Workshop. He has nothing to power out. Seems like Greg kept a hand with a bunch of mana. Right? He had the Workshop. He had multiple Moxes. He was on the draw, so he figured he just needs to draw any of the giant things. Does he not have a second land?
Wow. Using that Wasteland seemed like a really terrible play.
I would not have used Wasteland there.
I'm shocked that he did that without another land in his hand. I wasn't even sure he should do it in the first place, because it seemed like that's what his opponent wants him to do.
And now Mishra's Factory beatdown begins.
Wow, I cannot believe he made that play. Right.
I mean, it would have been worse for Joel if he got his Wasteland wasted. I think. I mean, it would be facing down a Port that he's not facing down now. I mean, it turns out Greg also had a second Port.
Yeah.
We said this was a shop deck. This looks like all lands to me.
A lot of shops,
Port, shop, factory. Okay, there's finally a second island, but the Port means he's still being kept off that null rod. So those Moxes have lived a long time against a hand that has not 1, not 2, but 3 null rods in it.
So if you know he's going to Wasteland your Wasteland, I guess because your deck is all islands otherwise, maybe I was too aggressive to call that a terrible play.
But you haven't seen the Wasteland, so with any other land in hand, yeah, I think you waste. With no lands in hand, I'm with you. I wouldn't have thrown it away. Make him show me the Wasteland.
Right, and make him use the Wasteland on his turn rather than cast something?
Right. Instead, he got to play a Factory and then a Port. And now there is the Wasteland, so Joel knows he wasn't...
Oh, wow.
Wow, did Tanglewire just get dazed?
Yeah, that's huge.
Why did he attacked before casting the Tanglewire?
Huge.
Yeah, there's no reason to attack with Mishra's Factory pre-Tanglewire.
He probably just didn't realize...
Didn't think of daze. There's not a lot of days in this room. Daze does not see a ton of play in Vintage. This is basically the only deck that runs it in any numbers.
Now he's going to be able to cast Null Rod.
Wow. That Daze was gigantic. Yeah, Greg thought he had things locked up. He tapped his Port because he was going to have Tanglewire. And then Tanglewire failed to resolve, and now here's Null Rod turning off both his Moxes. Big swing in Joel's favor. Soul Ring gets drawn. It's also turned off. Yeah, those are untapped, technically. They're just blank.
Unfortunately, the Null Rod doesn't actually do much here. He's got all the mana in the world,
I mean,
really.
It's blanking 3 cards, but I agree with you. He's got the Workshop. Not that Joel knows this yet, but, I mean, he could cast a 6-mana artifact right now if he had one. There's Ancient Tomb.
Funny, he's got Thorn, but Thorn doesn't do much against the Merfolk deck.
True. So Thorn of Amethyst, which makes all non-creature spells cost 1 extra.
Right. He cast it anyway, probably fine.
Joel draws. There's a Mishra's Factory playing defense. Sort of. He'd have to tap Ancient Tomb to activate it, but he would probably do that to be able to block Curse Catcher. I think that's a from the vault Ancient Tomb. It's a weird game. What does Joel have now?
Maybe that
Silvergill
Wasteland.
Adept?
I'm still thinking about the Wasteland play.
I understand. Is that an Adept? It's the draw card if you show a Merfolk, which he does. Can't tell which Merfolk that is with the glare.
It's the Merfolk of it's the new Lord of Atlantis.
Sure.
Master of the Pearl Trident. You're a Wasteland.
Yep. Do you waste Mishra? Because it's too good at blocking?
I think you do. I mean, your deck's of it.
Yeah, your deck needs to attack with small creatures, so Mishra's Factory is pretty effective on defense.
You're playing an opponent who does not have...
There's Workshop. I mean, blocks as a 3/3.
No, not with Null Rod in play.
Oh, not with Null Rod in play. I didn't think of that. Right, it can no longer tap to pump itself up to a 3/3. Right. Still, even as a 2/2, it blocks and trades.
A second factory could make it a 3/3, right?
Because it's not an artifact.
It's not an artifact,
yes.
But it can't do it to itself.
It cannot activate itself with Null Rod. Got it. Tricky. Island gets ported.
Well, maybe his plays look better here. If he had 2 ports out, this would be pretty annoying.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Joel has basically been saved by the fact that Greg hasn't drawn anything exciting, right? He's got all the mana he could dream of, and he just hasn't drawn any threats. Like, he hasn't drawn any Steel Hellkites, Lodestone Golems. He hasn't even drawn Slash Panther. I mean, he's literally played mana cards. He's run 1 Tangle Wire into a Daze, and he's played a Thorn. And he hasn't played an aggressive card yet. It's just a bunch of mana and a little bit of disruption. Anyway, this is kind of one of the problems with the Workshops deck, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You're just drawing 1 card a turn and hoping you draw the right combination of stuff.
Yeah, I mean it has a lot of redundancies normally.
It often works out, which is why Greg is 6-1, and I think everyone in the room lives in fear of playing against the shop deck.
Yeah, I mean, for years people have been trying to figure out how to draw cards with shops. I mean, every once in a while you'll see some deck with like Sword of Fire and Ice with Metal Workers, and
cute.
People used to play that
second Workshop.
Some 5 mana thing where whenever your opponent draws a card, you pay 1 and draw a card or something.
I've seen
Mind's Eye or something.
I've seen Staff of Nin lately.
Staff of Nin.
That's the personal Howling Mind that's also a Tim.
Right. So people try to come up with stuff.
So that's Metamorph?
Yeah. I'm not sure. Oh, it's Silvergill Adept. Probably not what the world had in mind.
Phyrexian Metaphor enters the battlefield as a copy of any artifact or creature on the battlefield, except it's an artifact. Silvergill Adept is a creature that can be copied.
Yeah,
and now has been on camera.
It's probably happened before.
Probably has. Not all that often.
Wow, so
Joel has managed to sneak in enough damage to get Greg down to 10.
Oh, he's in real trouble.
It just feels like the shop players had...
I mean, Greg's not playing the version that can really go over the top.
Recover from a swarm of Merfolk, even?
Like, especially because Steel Hellkite doesn't go over the top with Null Rod in play. It's still a big flyer, but it can't...
That's all it is.
Right.
It doesn't blow things up.
And
I mean, Forge Master would also have been shut down by Null Rod. I mean, even if he was the Forge Master version of the deck, he'd still be in trouble.
Right, so this isn't a great matchup for the Workshop deck.
And Null Rod seems fine here. I know we were thinking this was not a great... He wasn't super vulnerable to Null Rod, but it seems plenty good. All right, Factory is activated to be a potential blocker, and Joel went ahead and wastelanded it. Metamorph is going to trade, and we've got Master of the Pearl Trident in, so all the Merfolks...
I'm not even sure it was right to not attack with the Master.
Now, does Master hit only his Merfolk? Mm-hmm. It's New School Lord that doesn't pump up the Adept on the other side. Lord of Atlantis actually would have been worse there. Hilarious. Now what?
Still had all these Null Rods.
You play a backup Null Rod? Does that do much?
No.
Doesn't do anything, right? So Greg's at 8. Joel's got a 2-turn clock. Waste your wasteland. So I think Greg has a Mishra's Factory in his hand. He's trying to clear a path.
Right. The problem is he's not responding to anything here. He's just trying to.
It's fine.
I don't think they're going to let him do it.
What do you mean?
He can't start the stack.
Oh, fine.
He just doesn't have priority right now, so he can't wasteland. So he's casting an extra no rod because of Tangle Wire and Smokestack, just to get more permanents
there are good
on the
reasons
board.
for it. There you go. He does waste the wasteland, clearing a path for this Mistress Factory to potentially block, which slows the clock down for sure.
Yeah, but the problem is he has to tap Ancient Tomb to activate the Mistress Factory.
You're right.
So
he has a wasteland in his hand too. Playing the second workshop might have been a mistake, because I think he's had that wasteland for a while. Like, he's played a land every turn. He would much rather have workshop in his hand and wasteland in play right now, and save him 2 life from activating this factory. Still still paying the 2 life is worth it, but 3 turns ago, if he'd foreseen this, he would have played a different land.
You could just send in Curse Catcher.
Just Curse Catcher?
I think so.
Yeah, I'll buy that. And Greg is not going to bother to block. Yet another wasteland.
A lot of wastelands.
Now he's got a pain-free way to activate Mishra's. Basically took the same damage he would have taken from activating it with an Ancient Tomb last turn. That would have blocked last turn. You're taking the 2 either way. You may as well make sure you don't lose your Mishra's to a top deck wasteland.
Time Walk's a pretty good draw here.
Is that what he drew?
Yeah.
That is good. So just Curse Catcher again. Trade it. Greg's at 6. Now you can Time Walk. And no reason not to. You get an attack, you get a card draw. Greg's pointing at the null rod. Annoying. Mishra's normally a better blocker than that. Null rods cost 3 because of the thorn.
Did he really not Time Walk?
He did not Time Walk, and there's a Mistress Factory off the top.
I don't understand why he... I guess he wants more creatures in play.
That's what he's hoping for, yeah.
Time Walks?
I would have Time Walked there. He drew a Phantasmal Image.
Yeah, that's a great... Now the Time
That's a
Walks.
good draw. That really what this means is that Lord is now at 3/3.
Right.
It
But
beats
now
up
makes-
Mistress
now
Factory in a
makes
fight.
Time
And it makes Time Walk lethal. Scoop? The Merfolk, get it done. It took a while.
Well,
It was a weird
he kept
hand.
He kept the hand
He kept a triple no rod hand
with only 1 island.
with only 1 island, but it worked out. He got there. I mean, the workshop deck didn't draw particularly well.
Right.
Nothing fast,
If
nothing
the workshop
threatening.
deck just draws a blocker, the game could take forever.
But I mean, the workshop, I think he kept a hand that had a bunch of mana acceleration, no big powerful thing to spell out, but he's on the draw, so he gets a draw phase. He's got Wasteland, he's got Port, he's got Mishra. Again, we can kind of play for a couple turns and draw, but he never did draw any of... I mean, how many big creatures does he have? 4 golems. I mean, the Panthers aren't great, but 2 Steel Hellkites.
I mean, it's just really a bad matchup for him. And he gets main deck is
Is that right?
3
It's just a bad match?
It's
Merfolk
3
beat
Graph
Shops?
Diggers. I mean, this version of Shops.
Okay,
It's-
yeah,
it
3
can't-
Graph Digger's Cage is not good in this matchup.
Right. I mean,
3 Graph Digger's Cage says you're expecting a field of Oath and Dredge.
right. I mean, it's
Which
just,
fight?
it's just Slash Panther, not good in this matchup, right? Like,
Right.
It's Friction Revoker, terrible in this matchup.
Yes.
So I mean, in that game he just drew nothing. But the fact is that he was in a worse position to draw things that mattered compared to other shop decks. So we look at the sideboard. He has Mental Missteps. I doubt he'll bring those in. He has Ratchet Bomb and Powder Keg. Those will probably both come in.
Yeah,
He has
definitely.
4 duplicates and 4 Precursor Golem.
Yeah.
I expect all that stuff to come in.
Yes.
So he'll
Agreed.
probably take out Thorn of Amethyst and Graph Digger's
Digger's
Cages.
Cage.
So that's 7 cards right there. And
Maybe
he
the
wants to bring in
Revokers.
10. He might take out the Revokers as
I mean,
well.
they're not particularly effective. I mean, 2-1 for 2 isn't awful. Like, would you rather have 2-1 for 2 or would you rather have Slash Panther?
Probably 2-1 for 2.
Yeah, I mean, 4-2 for 5 or 4-2 for 4 and some life.
Right.
Yeah, I'd
So
rather have
you're
the
right.
2-1. All right, so the
Uh,
Panthers probably come out.
The Fish deck is probably going to take out his 3 Mental Missteps for...
The 1 Pithing Needle's good.
so he has 3 Steel Sabotage, a Hercules Recall, 3 Dismember, and 2 and 1 Ghost Quarter in his sideboard. So those will probably all come in.
Hurkyl's clearly, Sabotage clearly, Dismember seems like a yes.
Yeah, and I think the Ghost Quarters. So he's going to probably take out Cavern of Souls could come out. Although it's a little sketchy to take out land against a workshop deck.
Yeah, I would not take it out. I'd just add the Ghost Quarter. And...
He'll take out Mental Missteps. He'll probably take out Curse Catcher.
Sure.
So that.
How many 1-mana creatures does he have? Just the Curse Catchers? So you have no 1-mana plays then?
It's just not a big... You leave up an island for Steel Sabotage.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, his creature set is 4 Curse Catcher, 4 Lord of Atlantis, 4 Master, 3 Rejury, 3 Phantasmal Image, 4 Silvergirl Adept, 1 True Name Nemesis. He's making an appearance on camera today, and 1 Waterfront Bouncer.
Right. Oh, he also has a Flusterstorm main deck. Flusterstorm and the Dazes will probably come out too.
Definitely the Flusterstorm. He did... I guess he got away with the Daze, but now that he's shown Daze,
right.
it's worse.
And that was pretty...
And it's tricky to pull off against a deck with this much mana anyway.
Right, but he does have... I mean, we identified 9 cards he might want to bring in, so it's going to be hard to do that without kind of trimming numbers elsewhere.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, Curse Catcher isn't going to counter anything. It's basically Merfolk with a Pearl Trident.
Right. The workshop deck literally does not have a spell you can counter.
You wouldn't play Merfolk with a Pearl Trident in Vintage?
So that's one interesting... It doesn't count for this deck, but the fact that we were talking about Smokestack earlier. One of the things that makes Smokestack so good in the workshop decks is all 60 cards are permanents. You never don't draw a permanent.
Right. But this is not a Smokestack version.
This is not a Smokestack version. And of course, you know, he's going to go up to duplicates and precursor golems against a deck that has wastelands and strip mine. So, yeah, I don't think this is for this version of Shops especially not a good matchup. So, yeah, it's tough to know. Joel Lim has played against workshops a lot, I'm sure, in the Pennsylvania local tourneys. So I'm sure he has a very solid sideboard plan. I just don't know what exactly it is.
Well, he's got a bunch of relevant cards. Steel Sabotage and Hurkyl's. There's 4 that are awesome.
Yeah, Dismember is quite good too, I think.
Yeah, Dismember seems like it'll be fine. Ghost Quarter is fine. Pithing Needle's reasonable.
Ghost Quarter is great.
Yeah.
And Ghost Quarter is essentially strip mine in this matchup.
And it's an extra land against a deck that's attacking your lands, if you need it to be. Why is there not more Ghost Quarter in Vintage? You're right, it just is strip mine.
It is, because people don't even...
How many basics are running around?
Most decks play 1.
I guess that's true.
I
see a lot of 1 or 2 basics. That's enough to make the Ghost Quarters bad.
I mean, most people aren't even playing Wastelands, right? Most decks don't even have the strip mine.
What? Yeah, okay.
I mean, a lot of the decks we saw today don't have strip mine.
Yeah, you're right.
So, Greg's opening hand, I think I see a Black Lotus. Looks like he's mulliganing, so it must have been an all-mana hand.
Yeah, it must have been. Not many bad hands with Black Lotus in them.
Joel's got the Waterfront Bouncer, 2 Wastelands, a Sapphire. So
and a Null Rod.
And a Null Rod. So I don't...
Sapphire Null Rod, it's like Sapphire Petal.
I don't know if he can keep this. It's a little risky.
Does he have an island, or is it only Sapphire? So the Sapphire is the only blue?
Right. So
which means Null Rod is a mistake? And he's got no creatures?
Right. He basically has to trust that he's going to lock out Greg. Because Greg's mulliganing, right?
Yep.
He has all non-basics. You're holding a Null Rod and 2 Wastelands.
Right.
Greg, you know his deck has no card draw.
Yeah,
so
I don't think you can keep that. I don't think you can keep that.
But yeah, the idea is my opponent has no card draw on his deck.
Right. If you keep it, it's because you think you can just hose your opponent.
Right.
The thing is, though, those Wastelands, he gets to play the land and do something with it. I mean, it's hard to completely lock him out.
Right.
I mean, if he just goes Workshop, he gets 1 shot, he can put something into play.
Right.
Reed Duke has won his match.
Tendrils of Agony for 1 spell less than lethal. The opponent had a Robin play, and it took 3 turns to kill him.
Wow. So here's the Reed Duke story. Tendrils of Agony for not quite lethal to put his opponent at 2. His opponent has Dark Confidant in play, which is why Reed made the play the way he did. It took 3 turns, but Dark Confidant did, in fact, finish the work that the mini Tendrils had done. Crazy. Oh, apparently. The very final blow is Reed red blasting a Ponder to prevent him from manipulating the top of his library.
Not even the final blow, because his opponent had an engineered explosives in his hand. He asked for 2, but didn't have enough mana left over to actually blow it up to kill his own Dark.
Sounds like a crazy game.
Reed Duke. The guy likes to win at Magic, you know?
It's awesome.
It's really, really hard not to root for Reed Duke.
It's true. He apparently played a lot of Vintage back in the day. Well, back in the day for him, which is like 5 years ago.
Well, no, that's not true. He actually has been playing a really long time. Reed Duke, like he told me his first major tournament was actually the Legacy Grand Prix that I came in second, which I think was 2005.
Okay.
So he's been playing a long time.
2005 is like Magic.
That's 8 years ago, though. You said 5. I mean, that's 8
Fine.
years ago.
It's not 15 years ago.
No, it's not.
Like when you say back in the day,
Right, when I say
you
back
mean
in
like
the day.
1997.
Right. Back in the day for me is when Reed Duke was in kindergarten. Or
Right.
something.
I mean, how old was Reed Duke when you're top 8 in Dallas? Like 3?
No, that was, I don't know, older than that, but not very old. But he was around a while before he became what we know as Reed Duke today.
Fair. All right, both players have mulligans to start off game 2. Greg has Wasteland Mishra, Tanglewire.
Is that a duplicate? I'm not sure.
Can't tell. And a bunch of islands and 2 Merfolk.
A 6-hand all islands is probably very keepable. He's got a couple spells in there.
Yep.
Yeah, so it is duplicate, Tanglewire, and mana, right? Fancy mana.
Fancy mana.
At the Pro Tour in Dublin, I would say a good dozen times in the tournament, I activated my Mutavault and said to my opponent, attack you with Mishra's Factory.
Nice.
And my opponents look at me like, what are you talking about?
That's one of the creature types?
Some of them weren't even like what's a Mishra's Factory?
Oh, okay.
So that was kind of embarrassing, showed my age a little.
Oh, what's the creature type of Mishra's Factory? Is it not Mishra's
Assembly Worker.
Oh, it's Assembly Worker. No fun. It's like, I mean, if the creature type was...
all creature, yeah.
Right, I mean, if Mishra's Factory's creature type was Mishra's Factory, you would be telling the truth.
I wasn't making a fancy changeling joke.
Oh, okay. I gave you too much credit.
I was just activating my Mishras, because that's what you do.
Absolutely.
Well, he did, so he mulliganed that hand. I would not mulligan
Interesting.
that hand.
4 land, 2 Merfolk? Yeah, I think you keep it too.
I don't understand how you mulligan that against the... But this guy knows.
Against the deck that's attacking you.
I don't actually know Joel Lim, but based on what I know of his tourney experience and his tourney performance, I know he knows how to play against workshops. I'm still surprised that hand's a mulligan.
Right, but it's not that you're surprised he mulliganed. You're surprised to learn that that hand should be mulliganed.
Yes. I assume he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But there we know. Gerard Fabiano, more Planeswalker points than any American ever.
Yep.
And pretty much everyone agrees that guy doesn't know how to mulligan. So I shouldn't assume that just because Joel Lim's had a little success in Vintage that he's necessarily making correct mulligans, but I was surprised by that. I would have kept, having never played a game with a Merfolk deck. I don't think I've ever played a Merfolk deck in any tournament.
I certainly built Merfolk decks when I was first getting into the game. I have cast Merfolk or the Pearl Trident and made it bigger with Lord of Atlantis. I've even... Right, one of my first decks, I would Phantasmal Terrain their land to give them an island.
Look at that. Just the Sapphire.
Again, just the Sapphire.
Is that the true name Nemesis? So he's got a 3-caster?
And that you keep?
Yes. I mean, this is why you don't mulligan that 6-card hand, in my opinion.
Yeah. Greg leaves his Mishra's Factory and says go. Joel draws another card that's not an island, so all he's got is the Sapphire.
Yeah, he only has 9 islands in his deck.
Wow.
He has 4 caverns. And
13 blue sources?
I'm not 100% certain he left cavern in his deck.
The Sapphire's the 14th blue source?
I don't know if he trimmed one.
Lotus makes
Look
15?
at that, though. Dismember for the factory.
Whew. Interesting. Down goes Mistress Factory.
Yeah, you kind of have to do it.
Yeah. I mean, you kill a creature that's relevant and you stone rain them.
Right. And the fact is, if you let the factory hit you 3 times, you're not going to feel good about playing.
Right.
So Revokers are still in the deck, as you predicted, and it says, wow.
Ooh.
So that's basically the game. He's at this.
Revoker naming Mox Sapphire.
Of course, we're instantly put in the position where now we wish he hadn't dismembered the factory.
True. You and I both like the play, though.
Pretty amazing. But, you know, I kind of think Joel dug his own grave here with that mulligan. There's the island.
Doesn't do anything, though, because it's only 1 mana since the Sapphire's been turned off by the Revoker. Black Lotus.
Yeah, Black Lotus.
He's got duplicate? That doesn't do anything yet.
Yeah, he's going to hold that Black Lotus till he needs to duplicate something.
Throws it into play rather than, what, risk it getting Steel Sabotage or something?
Yeah, there's just no reason not to cast it in this matchup, I think, but...
Joel is just slow rolling his mana.
Yeah, I don't
Draws
know.
the card face down, puts it on the back of the
Yeah,
hand,
I can't live that
and then
way.
does the slow reveal. Do I have a land or no?
Through Time Walk, I think.
Second workshop.
This is
Back
classic
with Revoker.
workshop. Just can't draw anything that matters.
Still no land. Another Ancient Tune. Still no spells.
Yeah,
We have
Lodestone
one deck
Golem-
with land and one
Lodestone
deck with
Golem would pretty much
spells.
seal this.
Any kind of golem would pretty much steal this. Yeah, that's not going to work out for Joel.
Yeah, he's gonna get to the point where he's gonna have to steal sabotage the Revoker at the end of the turn.
He's
So-
got 8 cards now. He's also got a discard. It's definitely a mana light drop deck, right? He's on 14 black sources, I think we added up. I mean, he does have the Wasteland, so the blue and 1 creatures
Yeah, but
are
a
easier to cast.
significant number of the cards in his deck are double blue,
Yes.
and
Yeah, the 4 Lords of Atlantis, the 4 Masters,
and he only has 13 ways to cast them.
with the Sapphire and the Lotus.
That's why he has to leave. Right. I guess that's why he has to leave in the Cavern of Souls, because he's so low.
Yeah.
Not that you want to take out lands in
Yeah,
his workshop anyway,
exactly.
but he had a lot of cards to bring in, and I think Ghost Quarter is definitely better.
Island number 2.
Pretty nice draw.
Silvergill
So
Adept.
now
Reveals a Merfolk. Gets
yeah.
to draw an extra card.
he might just come
You
all
think
the way
he can
back.
stabilize? I mean, because Greg has drawn nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to come back now, because Greg drew
You
nothing.
duplicate here?
Oh, Tangle Wire is a big
Oh,
problem.
Tangle Wire is good here.
Yeah.
All right, Tangle Wire. Yes? Yes.
Yeah, that actually could.
Tangle Wire will tap down everything on Joel's side.
All right, and he's probably going to duplicate that Silvergill Adept. Yep.
Yes.
So now the game's over. I went.
Right, duplicate the Silvergill Adept. He can Revoker attacks for 2.
I'm looking.
Joel
pretty,
can't cast anything. Duplicate and Revoker attack. Joel still can't cast anything.
I'm looking pretty bad here. I basically said he's about to come back. Oh no, wait, he's dead.
These things happen.
Yeah. Did he draw the Tangle Wire this turn? He didn't have it, right?
Well, there was no reason to
Right,
play
there's
it
no
until
reason
the
to play
creature
it,
came
yeah.
down. So I don't know the answer to your question, but it doesn't
didn't
seem
matter. He
like it
wouldn't have
matters.
played it, right.
He would not have played it until now.
Yeah, he's drawn all those cards and none of them are Force of Will.
True story. Yeah, Duplicate's going to remove the adept from the game. Clearing a path for Revoker. That's what your Duplicate's supposed to do, right? Clear a path so Revoker can attack. Take 2. Yeah, this is locked, right, mathematically?
Well, he could draw
Dismember doesn't help.
Steel Sabotage as an instant.
Is an instant? Okay. Maybe not mathematically locked, but awfully close.
Wait, what happened? Did he not tap anything for the Tangle Wire?
We're in his upkeep.
Oh, we're still in his upkeep. Is that Hercule's Recall in his hand? So that's what he can do.
That is Hercule's Recall in his hand. So if he doesn't cast it right now, he's going to take 4 down to 2. So he does cast it. Purple's Recall You, which the Tangle Wire effect is still on the stack, so the Sapphire is turned on, but going to get tapped. And Joel draws a card.
Drew Force of Will.
He drew Force of Will. Wow.
Pretty good.
Sphere of Resistance is great.
Resistance is going to screw up that pretty badly.
So here's the Revoker. If you force this, I think you force this.
No, you have to force Tangle Wire.
The Tangle Wire doesn't do anything if there's no creatures. You can wait out Tangle Wire if he has no creatures.
That's pretty risky.
You force this. I would force this, because the only way you're winning this game is if Greg is Threat Light. You force this, and then you can afford to wait out a Tangle Wire.
No, what do you... You just cast creatures that block. I guess he's going to reduplicate.
Right.
No, I would have cast Sphere Resistance first here.
If you're Greg? Oh, yeah. He should totally have cast Sphere first. I agree with you. Yeah, Joel is in fact going to force will this Revoker, which he would not have been able to do if Sphere had come down. He would have been forced to either force the Sphere or force nothing.
Line. I don't agree with this doing Time Walk, but...
Alright, Tangle Wire and Sphere come down. Tangle Wire is going to lock Joel out of doing anything.
So I guess you're right. Maybe,
but I mean, I think
forcing a creature was better.
I mean, it gives him the ability to potentially just wait out Tangle Wire. Yeah, like he plays no duplicate targets, waits out Tangle Wire, and then hopes that he can dump enough stuff that duplicate isn't going to cause him too much trouble.
Yeah, Greg's got to be kicking himself about the Sphere.
The Sphere, yeah, that was definitely a mistake. Although I guess Duplicant is a 2/4.
You can just cast it.
I mean, he could just summon Duplicant as a 2/4. It's crazy, but maybe he should have summoned a 2/4 blank Duplicant.
I probably would have.
Alright, Joel gets tangled again.
Problem is it doesn't quite kill him. This is probably what he's
right,
thinking.
Yeah. He gets into 1, I think. That's how it would have worked out. Mistress Factory.
There, finally.
Now the 2/4 Duplicant?
No, probably second Tangle Wire, right? Nope.
Or both. 2/4 Duplicant, it's time.
It's an odd choice.
They waited 2 turns, but yes. 2/4 Duplicant, so Tangle for 2. Steal Sabotage on Duplicant. I want to make sure you get maximum value out of your Duplicant. I'm going to put it back in your hand.
I'm a little confused by that play too.
He's almost dead. The matchup is...
But you could have Steal Sabotage the factory when it attacked. Oh no, because the Sphere Resistance, he can't. Yeah. That's right.
Alright, Mox costs 1 because of Sphere of Resistance. Duplicant costs 7 because of Sphere of Resistance. But it's coming back down as a vanilla 2/4. Academy taps for a lot, which he's going to use for another Tangle Wire, which is excellent. Now the Mistress Factory and the 2/4 Duplicant is good enough.
Yeah, this is gonna be hard to beat now.
Yes, I think barring another Hercules to reset everything, that does seem like it'll do it.
Unfortunately, he does not have another Hercules.
Just the one? Yeah, just the one. Making sure he got all the mana cost payments right.
Right now, Greg's thinking, why is this so tough? My opponent has nothing.
I know, seriously.
But
Mistress, knock him down to 3.
I'm sure if we walked out into the room, we could find many workshop players willing to tell you the story about the time they
had everything.
They drew 16 mana sources in a row and lost.
Yes. All right, double Tangle Wire, and Greg has lethal in play.
No, I think he drew Wasteland.
Play on.
Your standings and pairings are posted on the 3 boards by the door.
All right.
Please find your seats.
Tangle Wire, 3 permanents. He stacks it up such that he can tap the first Tangle Wire before it dies.
Right, so people who aren't used to Tangle Wire, you can stack it in a way such that...
Lodestone Golem.
Such that you stack the...
Finally? Yes? Can we scoop? Yes, finally, the game is over.
You can
On to game 3. Finally, time for Chris to tell his
you
story.
remove the counter before you tap your stuff. So
Right.
you can take it down to 3, and in the same way, in the decks that have smokestack, they can sacrifice their stuff before they tick it up. So the effects seem symmetric, but they aren't.
Right.
And of course, you can tap Tanglewire to itself, so essentially it's 2 cheaper for you than it is for your opponent.
So now we go to game 3.
Yeah.
What a crazy match so far. Both games have just been, I mean, they're not the most typical decks in the room anyway. I mean, this is sort of a variant on the shop deck that's maybe not the most popular variant, but relatively close to the shop list. And then a Merfolk deck, which is not a huge player in the metagame, but has always been kind of floating around in low numbers.
Right.
And then meanwhile, the matchup, both decks have drawn kind of on the tail of their distributions.
Yes.
Right, these have not been normal draws for these decks, and they're not all that normal decks in the first place. Just
Right,
weird
like
games.
under normal circumstances, the cards Greg drew that game would not have won him a game against Merfolk in a million years, right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, how much damage did you deal with the Friction Revoker? 12?
Yeah.
A lot. And a card we were saying could potentially just take out, but...
No, we decided it was better.
Yeah,
I mean, it's better than Slash Panther.
We did decide to leave it in because he doesn't
Although
have...
Slash Panther would have been better in that game. I don't know, it wouldn't have turned off the Sapphire. It beats
that
down
was
harder,
weird.
but
Yeah.
it would not have turned off the Sapphire. So these guys are playing one game to hopefully get to draw the next one.
Yeah.
That was a long game, though. These both have been long games. I'm not sure how much time's left in the round, but they can't have forever for this game 3.
TQ players, please find your seats. You're about to begin.
– 14 minutes left, it sounds like.
The mulligan decisions of these decks are actually pretty interesting.
True.
So,
Yeah, that 6-card hand that you wanted Joel to keep, it wins that
Twitter
game.
is telling me it was a rejury, so that makes it seem a little worse because it's a 3 casting cost Merfolk and not a 2 casting cost Merfolk.
But it was Adept Rejury?
No,
There were
I
2
mean,
Merfolk.
Twitter's claiming it was 4 islands, Steel Sabotage, rejury,
Okay.
which
That is worse.
I still sort of want to keep.
It's worse than what we thought he had. I thought he had
Right.
two more folk.
I mean, Steel Sabotage, if you're playing a normal deck on the draw, that hand doesn't seem as
Yeah,
good.
wait,
because-
Steel Sabotage is good in this matchup.
Right, but
Not against that
what
draw.
I was gonna
but-
say is that if you expect like the full-blown like 4-3 resistance, 4-thorn of amethyst type matchup,
Yep.
Sabotage might not be as good on the draw, but you know he's probably taking out the thorns,
Okay.
so you're just not as likely to get sphered out. So you're probably gonna be able to counterspell something on turn 2 with your Steel Sabotage, which makes that draw a lot better.
TQ players.
Oh, that's a good draw.
2 Lord of Atlantis.
Final round.
Wasteland is his lead.
Wait, what is?
Does he not have 2 blue for the
What did
Lords?
I miss?
What do you mean?
What was his? He had no second blue layout.
He must not have. 4 mana Lodestone Golem.
Wow.
It's a Sapphire.
Wow,
His Sapphire is his only blue.
What? So he
Strip mine.
kept.
He kept the draw with Sapphire as his only blue mana. Now, so the Lodestone Golem makes non-artifacts cost 1 extra.
So is he gonna
The
copy
Mox
the?
is still
So do you copy
0.
the Lodestone Golem here, or do you strip mine the?
You got to get rid of the Workshop.
I would consider copying the Lodestone Golem first. I mean, you're gonna die real fast here.
Lodestone Golem hits hard.
I mean, yeah. Now Greg can't cast anything, but see, is that? Do you have that in his hand the whole time, or did he just draw that?
It's been there the whole time. You wanted him to
Wow.
go Cavern Sapphire, turn 1 Lord?
That's not a cavern, right? It's a ghost quarter. Is that what's going on?
Oh, that must be what's going
That's
on.
what I thought. I thought
Okay,
that
it's
was
a
a
ghost
cavern.
quarter.
I thought that was a cavern.
You thought it was a cavern, so you
which
thought
is
he
why
had
I was
two
so
blue.
confused.
All right, so that Hercules
now the game's
not
over.
only undid the Lodestone Golem and gave Greg 8 cards, so he actually had to start discarding, and he discarded Trinisphere because he was just
Yeah.
falling behind.
So this is what I was talking about earlier, where when the workshop decks actually play against a deck with Wasteland and Strip Mines,
They don't have enough mana.
they they get some precarious draws.
Yeah, you're in danger of locking yourself with your Trinispheres and your Sphere of
Right.
Resistance type cards. And yeah, Greg had the Workshop, which is the dream land, but got it stripped and doesn't have any other lands, so he is just discarding now.
But I mean, he did have the perfect.
And now there's a Cavern. So now he's got 2 blue, and Joel can start
I mean,
deploying
Joel
his Merfolk.
drew very well.
The top of his deck was in love with him this game. Definitely delivered what he needed. Yeah, Greg's feeling pretty bad.
So he kept
Head in his hands.
So he kept an opening hand of Wasteland, Sapphire, Ghost
Ghost
Quarter.
Quarter.
I guess you keep that.
Wasteland, Sapphire, Ghost Quarter, Lord, Rejury.
With the Phantasmal Image. So he
Phantasmal Image.
He knew he could copy a lodestone. if he
Right,
had
even if you
to.
don't draw blue, you can copy something. Yeah, that's a keep. You keep that. I like that hand. And then he drew the second blue source pretty quickly.
Yeah, this is another spot where I wish I had had a few moments to stew on his mulligan decision.
I mean, they're really playing this for us, right? All right, Phantasmal Image. So is that Adepts? That's a Merfolk?
Rejury.
Or
No, it's a
Rejury?
Rejury.
He's wastelanding his own he's ghost quartering his own wasteland so he can get an island. Is that worth it? I mean, he came up with another blue.
Given that my opponent has no lands and
Yeah.
any land he draws,
He ghost quartered his own wasteland so that he could search for an island.
I'm not sure why he did this.
I mean, he has the 2 blue. I don't know if the third one is that important.
I just
but
kind of felt like the game was locked otherwise, but
yeah.
I mean, it might just be locked now.
Certainly playing
Wait, what is going?
Rejury. He's untapping all of his blue mana.
Oh,
He used Rejury to untap his blue mana to get all the
So
lords
that
down.
explains it.
And there's the hand. All right. Joel Lim wins the match. Merfolk got the job done. Wait, you're playing Wastelands because you're trying to punish them on mana. And that is